I'm Gavin Cox, and this is a demo episode for our brand new YouTube podcast, Creation Crusaders, with myself and Simon Turpin from Answers in Genesis UK. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most unexpected and, dare I say, epic episodes in British medieval church history. This is the tale of the bishop who battled a dragon. Yes, you heard that right. Dragons, medieval bishops, decapitation, and even a sprinkling of Latin. What more could you want from a YouTube podcast? So let's start with the man himself. Bishop Jocelin of Wells, elected in 1206, died in 1242. Born Jocelin Thotterman or Jocelin Trotterman, depending on which medieval scribe you prefer, he wasn't just some ceremonial figure in a fancy mitre. Jocelin rubbed shoulders with royalty. He's actually mentioned in the Magna Carta of 1215, was a trusted advisor to the notoriously unpredictable King John, and later crowned his successor, a young Henry III. When he wasn't involved in high politics, he was building, and not just small chapels. We're talking St. John's Hospital, the Bishop's Palace, and that jaw-dropping west front of Wells Cathedral, a facade covered in one of the largest collections of medieval sculptures in the world. But here's where things take a strange, almost mythical turn. Alongside this glittering resume of royal diplomacy and grand architecture comes another claim to fame. Bishop Jocelin slew the dragon. So how do we know this? We owe it to a book that was basically the Wikipedia of the Middle Ages, Polychronicon. This was a massive universal history compiled in the 14th century that went right back to creation by a monk called Ranulph Higden from more ancient histories. One particular 15th century copy, now sitting quietly in Eton College Library, has a juicy little Latin note scribbled in its margins, which translated into modern English says, "In the park near Wells lurked a deadly dragon, 4-footed and winged and with a face like a man's. Dismissing all his followers, he attacked it single-handed, he struck off its head and killed it." That's it. No epic poem, no long-winded prologue, just a brisk little matter-of-fact note about the bishop casually decapitating a deadly man-faced quadruped-winged reptile. Now, modern scholars, being modern scholars, tend to wave this away as either folklore or symbolism. Maybe, they say, the dragon represents a land dispute Jocelin was sorting out in 1207, which feels like a bit of a stretch to me. But here's an intriguing detail. The account mentions Jocelin had his personal armed force with him, and that little factoid is not surprising at all, at least to medieval church historians. You see, back then, bishops had small personal armies and were expected to lead men into battle if the church's territory needed defending. Furthermore, history informs us that Jocelin was at the Sea Battle of Sandwich in 1216, blessing the troops before the fight, which was no picnic in the park in case you were wondering. But Wells Cathedral holds yet another clue to historical veracity, one carved in stone and wood. Hidden among its many treasures, the oldest working clock face in the world, to its unique scissors arch, are 3 intriguing depictions of clerics slaying dragons. And all 3 have one weird thing in common. They're all doing it left-handed. You see, in medieval art, left-handedness wasn't usually a compliment. In fact, the Latin word for left is sinistra, from which we get, wait for it, sinister. Normally, heroic acts were shown being done with the right hand. Slaying a dragon left-handed is virtually unheard of, and to art historians, very conspicuous. So a left-handed dragon-slaying bishop? Yes, because sometimes even the good guys like to break a few artistic rules. Fascinatingly, a Somerset legend leans firmly towards Jocelin being a lefty. Just 2 miles from Wells, in the village of Dinder, there's been a tradition, supposedly dating back centuries, of reenacting Jocelin's dragon slaying exploits every 50 years. And here's the kicker. According to the local story, the role must be played by a left-handed clergyman. Just ask the villagers if you don't believe me. The last performance was in 2001 with the Reverend Nigel Dunn bravely skewering a giant paper dragon. And yes, photos show him holding the lance in his left hand. There's even a mosaic in the grounds of the Bishop's Palace, created for that particular festival, showing Jocelin doing the dragon-slaying deed. And Jocelin's very own Bishop's Crozier, crafted in Limoges, France, features what else but intricate dragons and St. Michael battling a dragon, spear in his right hand, of course. If nothing else, Bishop Jocelin clearly had a brand. But were medieval dragons dinosaurs? Now here's where worldviews come into play. You see, mainstream science says dinosaurs died out 65 million years ago. So for them, dragons are just mythology. So nothing to see here, move along. But from a biblical perspective, dragons could well be the cultural memories of the dinosaurs who survived Noah's flood on his ark. Then down through the centuries, they were exaggerated over time with things like wings or faces by the heroes of old looking to make a name for themselves. But the memory of these ferocious beasts and their interactions with humans were rooted in real encounters. Did you know that the scientific evidence points to the fact that dinosaurs died out thousands, not millions of years ago? Their bones have been found with soft tissue inside that can be stretched, which snaps back into place. Key biomolecules have also been found: collagen, hemoglobin, keratin, cholesterol derivatives, and even DNA fragments. And I can tell you, the world of paleontology is scrambling to try and explain it all when they know how fast such delicate chemistry breaks down. So from these perspectives, Bishop Jocelin's battle might not just be a quirky local legend. It could be one of many historical accounts of human-dragon-dinosaur interactions preserved in medieval art and story. One closing thought: back then the word dinosaur hadn't been invented yet. We would have to wait until 1846 when Sir Richard Owen, the superintendent of the British Natural History Museum, coined the term dinosauria. That was a clever combo of two Latin words: dinos, meaning fearful or great, and sauros, meaning lizard. So next time you see a dinosaur, tell yourself, that's a terrible lizard. The Bible itself describes creatures like Behemoth in Job 40 and Leviathan in Job 41, animals that sound an awful lot like dinosaurs. And the old King James Bible even uses the word dragon multiple times to mention impressive animals that lived in water and on land. In closing, I would encourage you to do the tourist thing at Wells Cathedral. Take a look at the carvings. Find the left-handed dragon slayers and the Jocelin mosaic in the grounds. And remember, history is full of surprises. Sometimes they wear mitres, sometimes they carry swords, and sometimes they battle dinosaurs. But that depends on your worldview, of course. I'm Gavin Cox, and this is Creation Crusaders. Join me next time when we'll unravel another mystery of the ancient world. How ancient Britons moved massive stones from as far away as North Scotland to build Stonehenge. Until then, keep your swords sharp and your dragon stories even sharper. Goodbye.